you find any inspiration in this, we have done, and you have done your noble part.
El Maestro Speaks podcast.
That's it. Another episode that we are recording. So, hello to each and every one of you, wherever you are in this part of the planet. Just finished doing things that we should do in our job, and the scheduled conversations that's supposed to be being recorded for this episode was moved back. Um, One of my friend, our schedule actually did not coincide. We don't have free time. We don't have a schedule, uh, same free time on our schedule. So what we're gonna have to do today is to have a conversation, and I'll be talking. You will be listening. All right. So as we always do every time we don't have someone with us. So July, month of July, it's soon to be the opening of the class here for the basic education in the Philippines. And I hope all our teachers there are prepared. I know they are prepared. And, that's not our topic. We have another podcast for that one. Um, yeah, that's what kept us busy for this day. And yeah, like I made a commitment to myself to like to do a podcast recording for this one here. I wouldn't like to repeat the past history of this podcast wherein I would like record for one time and then we'll leave it there for like 2, 3, even 6 months before I can record another one. I don't want to do that. I want it to be like a weekly podcast. Whether I have someone with me for a conversation or not, um I'd be logging episodes for this podcast here, talking about Igorot culture, like yeah, Igorot culture, histories, and everything uh, is happening here and in the internet world, you know, and then we'll be relating it to Igorot life. Um, I I often and that I always do this because uh, more has to be said. A lot has to be said and has to be discovered by these people here who doesn't know Igorots about them. A lot has to be said, discovered about them, as there are so few accounts about Igorots in our history books. Like what I said before, basically the Philippine history is like Tagalog history, the Manila history, and so few is being released about Igorots, and that's what we're trying to do here. I have another podcast I listen to, the Torogi World. I I saw this one in Spotify while searching for other Igorot podcasts. These are fellow Igorots overseas. We're talking about our culture also, it's just the same, and how they it affect their way of living, the culture that was taught to them, how they like try to mm, reconnect to the Igorot nation here in the Philippines, even though they are on some other nations. That one's a good listen also. It would be very nice for uh you guys who are listening to this podcast to listen to that podcast also. Anyway, so I'm browsing the net one time and I saw this like uh there are these standards or the things that when you're a man, even if it's not taught you know that you have to do this, right? This is like these standards. These are the things that should be seen on you or should be seen from you if you are a man. Now, I have collected like this ones are called the 20 unspoken rules for men, but looking at it, I have like a lot. There are 20, but it has different content from what I saw earlier. So we'll just be discussing about this one, and then later on, we'll be relating it. We'll be looking at the standards or the unspoken rules so that as an Igorot man, okay, you will be acknowledged as a man. Something like that. Did I explain it well? Okay. Anyway, so we'll be looking about that upon that one later on, and I'll be talking about that one thing. It's like the standard, or it's like the benchmark of being an Igorot man later on after we're done with these things here. So 20 unspoken rules of a man, of men. It's like if you're a man, you know, you gotta have this one. At least you might not have it all, but you have to embody, you have to practice these things here. And so to start with, we have, okay, never shake a hand sitting down. That's right. Um, it's kind of rude when you're shaking someone's hand and they are not standing. It's kind of insulting. So, as a show of respect, standing up, shaking their hands, it signifies that you value the person you are meeting and are fully present in the interaction. Yeah, first truth in becoming a gentleman and spoken, but now spoken. And the second one we have here is that protect who is behind you, means the weak ones, and respect who is beside you. This emphasizes loyalty and honor. Protecting those behind you means safeguarding your family, of course, your friends, your teammates. Respecting those beside you signifies recognizing the quality and value of your peers. So, as a man, connecting to this second unspoken rule here is that uh, this is often preached by Jordan Peterson, a professor in other country. So, um, protect who is beside you, and it says here your family, your wife, your child, your friends, and as a man, it is like another spoken rule is that you have to know how to protect yourself and the person you love. Okay? You should be a peacemaker or a man who loves peace, but you have to know how, when it comes to, when push comes to shove, you have to know how to push back. Okay. And you have to know how to protect. You have to know how to be violent. That's the word there. But only when you have to. Okay? Because if you cannot be violent, if you cannot protect, if you cannot fight, then you're just a weak person, okay, hiding behind the word peace. That's how they explained it. That's how I understand it. I mean, that's not how they explained it. That's how I understand it. So, yeah, as a man, you have to protect who is behind you. Next, and this one is a little bit funny, but yeah, I think that never insult the cooking when you are the guest. Show gratitude and respect for the hospitality. Yeah, that's right. Criticizing the cooking is disrespectful and ungrateful, especially when someone has gone out of their way to host you. Right? Like that goes for women also, right? If you were a guest, well, you have to be thankful for what the food that was given to you. They went, okay, out of the way to feed you. So you should show gratitude. Next, number four is that never eat the last piece of something you didn't buy. Oh, that is a good advice. Here in the Philippines, we have the culture wherein there will always, if you're eating as a group, there will always be that one piece of, like, say, bread, a cookie, or something, one piece of food that will be left on the plate. Everybody's like a little bit shy to get that last piece of food. But it's here, it's a good rule, right? That leave that last piece to someone who paid. Now, if you didn't pay your bill yet, then whoever took the last piece will be the one to pay. That's a good rule. Well, anyway, yeah, that will be it's a show of courtesy for the one who's treating you, right? The next one, never make the first offer in a negotiation. Letting the other party make the first offer can provide strategic advantages. It gives you insight into their expectation and can help you negotiate better terms. Okay, case to case basis, I would say, you know, because you will never reach an agreement if you will not be the first to compromise. You know, you can, as a man, you can offer a compromise. Okay, you can offer, yeah, you can be the first to do the offer, and as long as it is reasonable in your side and it's also reasonable in their side. So, you know, okay. Number five, I kind of not agree with it. That is like doing some power play. Number six, don't take credit for work you didn't do. Always acknowledge the one who did the work. Something, something very crucial. Do not take credit for something that you didn't do. Okay. That will backfire, like, pretty soon. Integrity and acknowledging others' work is crucial. Taking undue credit undermines the trust, yes, and damages your credibility. That's right. The next one is take the blame and give credit when due. I always emphasize on the leadership style that was being discussed by Jocko Willing. The extreme ownership. Take the blame. Take the blame. You accept. You acknowledge the responsibility, and through that only that you can improve yourself, and also give credit when due. Owning up to mistake and recognizing others' contribution builds respect and trust. It shows maturity and leadership. And leadership through extreme ownership, I think it's one of the very sound and practical leadership style that I've ever read in my entire life. So there's of course some good leadership advices from John Maxwell. I also listened to his podcast. I also read this book, 21 Refutable Laws of Leadership. Um, it's a good advice, but it will always boil down to ownership, ownership of mistakes. Okay, because through that everything will come in, making your team understand things like that. 20 unspoken rule that a man, the attributes or attitudes that a man should have. And if you didn't have it yet, you can learn to, you know, um, it's like a skill that you can acquire. You can learn how to acquire it. If you're not invited, don't ask to go. Yeah. Respecting boundaries and invitation is key to maintaining good social etiquette. It avoids awkward situations and respects the host's intentions. That's right. The next one, number nine, always aim for the head. It's a metaphorical rule. Yeah. Yeah. But it's a good advice also, especially like, for example, we go back to the rule that you have to learn how to protect the person behind you or someone behind you, your family, your loved ones. Always aim for the head. Right. Practicality in fighting. Okay. You have your two eyes here, vulnerable targets. Your ears are vulnerable targets. Your nose, uh, not so much with the jaw. Yeah, you can hit it. Because sometimes, yeah, and for me, it's easier for the eyes, the ears, and the nose and the throat. Aim for the head. Now, metaphorically, it means, where was I? It means rule can apply to many scenarios, implying that you should strive for excellence and precision in your efforts. So always. It. I mean, we're talking here about work ethic, doing the job properly, doing it right. You have to do. If there's a task given to you, you have to always do it right. Okay, aim for excellence and precisions in your effort. Don't beg for a relationship. Self respect and dignity are important. Desperation can lead to unhealthy dynamics and undervalues your self worth. It's like you sacrifice everything maybe so that you can have a relationship with that woman. Or in the long run, the woman will be controlling all aspects of your life. So, yeah, don't beg for a relationship. It should be, a mutual understanding so that in the long run of your relationship, you will be respecting each other. There will be a mutual respect in that relationship. Okay. Next, dress well no matter what the occasion. And this is where I would say I've faltered a lot because I'm not in. Of course, we do personal hygiene, but then in terms of dressing well, I am more of a rugged kind of person. But I can see the point here. Good grooming and dressing appropriately show respect for yourself and others. Of course, if it's an event where you need to have a suit, and you gotta have a suit. It also boosts confidence and makes a positive impressions. Of course, gotta go to work. You gotta have your work clothes. Okay, you go. If your workplace is an office, you gotta have a suit. Things like that. Always carry a cash. That's number 12. Now it depends. I would say that can be a cash in your wallet or a cash, you know, in your or on your phone or in your phone. Being prepared for various situations includes emergencies as practical. Yep, it reflects foresight and responsibility. That's right. And number 13, listen, nod, and most, most of all, make eye contact. When talking to someone, you got to have eye contact, you know. Nodding and nodding shows that you are trying to listen, you know. Nowadays, and I hate this. When I'm talking to someone and they're looking at their phone, I really don't like it. And of course, if you don't like it, other people won't like it also. So when you're having a conversation, you have to look at them in the eye. By looking at them in the eye and then nodding, it's like mm, your mind will go with what your body is doing. So your mind will really focus on what the person is saying. Okay? It's very important when that's the effect of nodding and looking at the person's eye when you're having a conversation. All right, next. Show restraint in expressing anger no matter what. Being angry is a waste of energy. Aside from it's a waste of energy, you know. The one here, the first sentence that you say here, show restraint in expressing anger no matter what. Oh, yeah. When we are angry, when we are in that emotional high, we will often say things that we will regret in the end. Always, 100% will be saying things that we will be regretting after. We will be making decisions that we will be regretting after. And we will be doing something that is so regrettable that we would wish we didn't do it. So he is right here when he said that show restraint, restraint in expressing anger no matter what. Like when you will express your anger, like for example, you're so angry that you punch the wall. Give it like 30 seconds, you will regret what happened. You will regret what you did. So 20 unspoken rule of the man is that you have to show restraint. As a man, you have to have the strength to restrain your anger. All right. Managing anger is vital for maintaining composure and making rational decisions. Like what I said a while ago, when you are in that emotional high, you're so angry, you will always make wrong decisions. Like that's why I have my own personal rule: never ever make or give a decision on something when you are so happy or when you are so sad and when you are so angry. All of those. If you are at both the extreme end of that spectrum of emotion, when you are that when you are at the extreme negative or when you are at the extreme positive, you should never make a decision. That's a rule that I did, or that's my rule for myself, and I relate it here. I'm connecting it to rule number 14 of this 20 unspoken rules for men. Number 15, whether it's dinner, drinks, or both, avoid placing your phone on the dinner table. Prior, Prioritizing face-to-face interaction over digital distraction shows respect and attentiveness to those present. Yep. Apparently, this is not just for men, but being the man, if you're the man there, man of the family, I would say, if you do that, the others will follow, right? Dinner is the time for you to talk to your family, and that will be very, very important thing to do. Leave your digital distractions, okay? Take it away. Do not put your phone on the table or your tablet. Talk to the people who are there. Next, never pose with alcohol. We, as young men, we did some stupid things back then. Uh, and for sure, in this digital age, people can just easily look. I can search for those pictures of us holding like that. And I'm guilty of that also. Maintaining a responsible image is important. That is right. Posing with alcohol can convey unprofessionalism and or recklessness. All right. Yeah. It's always, you know, there's always that message that you're conveying about yourself with every pictures that you post on your digital album. You know, you can have those pictures, but do not show it publicly. Hide it for your personal consumption only. to bring back memories of you when you drank like 2, 3 liters of wine liquor or something. I don't know why we take pictures. I don't know, but I don't know why we take pictures with those ones, with drinks, with alcoholic drinks, but we did. We did. So, yeah. It is a good advice. Never pose with alcohol. Proper grammar will get you far in life. Leave the foul language for the less educated. Good communication skills, including proper grammar, enhance your credibility, professionalism. Avoid foul language. Show respect and humility. Yeah, I'm guilty of this also. I curse, you know, sometimes unknowingly, but learning, um, talking mindful, minding your talk, or guarding your mouth is showing restraint to yourself. This showing discipline is a man. And having a discipline means showing you have the strength to control yourself. And if you have the strength to control yourself, you have you have this um you have this instilled work ethic that you can use or you can apply to every obstacle that you will face in life, and you can easily conquer them. So that's the discipline. That's what discipline will teach you. That's what this very simple thing, minding your tongue, will teach you. You know, Proper grammar will get you far, and then leave the art of communication. Okay, it's very good. You can use it in negotiation, everything, in doing this podcast. And I would say I'm not 100% perfect in what I'm doing here, communicating with you, but the the reason why we do this is that as we go, we are learning, right? We're learning to drop those foul language along the way. And hopefully on episode, let's say 1000, we will be so good that millions of people will be listening to us. Yeah, no, yeah. Next, ask more than you answer. Showing interest in others by asking questions fosters better relationship and understanding. It also demonstrates humility and willingness to learn. This is in the art of conversation. Show Asking question is like showing interest to the person's life, and that will also make them more relaxed when they're having conversation with you. I know this because this is what I do when I do a conversation with people in this podcast. Um, Asking people about their personal situation, their personal view, rather than giving more of what you know or your personal opinion makes or make them relax. And like after 30 minutes, soon they'll forget they'll forget that they're being recorded or they're on a podcast. Yeah, and that's what I learned that through having a lot of conversations with people. So it's a very helpful advice also. The number 18, unspoken rule of men. Number 19, you can tell a great deal about a person by their handshake. You should make your handshake strong and firm. Yeah, you will learn that when you are in Boy Scout, right? You can't just give a loose handshake. Your handshake should be firm so that you can show confidence and sincerity. It is often the first impression you make, so it is important to get it right. Not too tight, not too loose, of course, because if it's too tight, oh my goodness, this one is angry. They'll have that impression on you. Number 20, speak honestly. Speak honestly. Say what you mean what you say. Honesty builds trust and integrity. It involves being truthful and consistent. fostering deeper connections and mutual respect. Speaking honestly means balancing truth while with empathy and tact, ensuring that your words are respectful and considerate. So if you gotta have to say something that's negative, being honest, you have to be respectful and considerate. Okay. Say, for example, we're giving criticism. You can just you should not just say, okay, you you fail there. Do not just say it directly. You can perhaps you can say it artfully so that you can relay your criticism respectfully and considerately. At the same time, give an advice for improvement if they ask for it, of course. You know, um, or in a way, you should have, or if you're giving criticism and then you can give an additional input by, let's say, saying, perhaps if I'm the one doing that, maybe, or you can just say, oh, maybe you have done it better if like this and like that. Okay. And then end it up with, say, I know you will do better next time. Something like that. So being respectful, okay, at the same time, honest. Now that's the first one that I saw. And then here comes another one, another 20 spoken rules for men. And they're kind of short. And it's also good to have it, okay, to always remember it. Like what I do is I put them on my notes. And then when I'm not doing something, I'm just browsing my keep notes. I do keep notes. Keep note is an app, Google app. I like it better than Evernote and the other notes of Microsoft because it's so simple, so easy to keep. I mean, if I have a note, it's so very easy to open, very easy to very easy to use. So we have another one here: 20 rules for men. And spoken rules is always keep your word as a man. That's the measure of a man. If you keep your word, you're a real man. So we already know that if you're a man, you have to keep your word. Respect women, treat them with dignity and respect. You know, it's kind of difficult nowadays because you know um, changes in our environment and on the beliefs of people about the difference of men and women. Well, we are different, but that does not mean that one is inferior than the other. We are different, but we are equal. But then, as a man, if you're the man, treat women with respect. You know, the very common thing that they will say to you when they they will scold you for not respecting men. I mean, women is that they will say, "Remember that your mom is a woman." Yeah, that that line alone will make you regret whatever disrespecting way actions you did to one woman. So the general rule: always respect women. Number three, take care of your appearance, like what we said a while ago. Dress appropriately. Appropriately means, if it's a place where suits, gotta wear suits, and of course maintain good hygiene. Be honest, okay? Or perhaps polit- for politicians, yeah. Be honest. If you're a man and you're a politician and you lie, you're not a real man. Number five, show respect for elders. Of course, it's not just an unwritten rule for men, unspoken rule for men, but it's also for women or for the youth. Always respect the elders. They've been to a lot. I mean, they have a vast experience that they can share to you, okay? And disrespecting that means that you don't really care about your future also. Next, be loyal. Stand by your friends and your family. Loyalty. Be responsible. Take ownership of your action and their consequences. That's right. There's some men, there's some men that, you know, if they did something wrong, they will do or will give some excuses. You know, we should learn how to take ownership of our action and we should learn how to face the consequences of those action. Be self-sufficient. Learn to take care of yourself as a man. Like this is also a rule that was taught to me back when I was young. As a man, you have to learn how to. We were all of us back then. We were all boys, and my father said, Even if you're a man, you have to know how to cook, how to wash your own clothes. You gotta do the normal chores that girls are doing, and you have to learn how to do this, how to do that. So we learn how to do those things, chores, different chores at our early age. Now, those ones were very valuable when we grew up. We know how to be self-sufficient, and those are the skills. I mean, the attribute of characteristics of a man that is missing nowadays. Okay, um, the survival skills, things like that, the woodwork skills, those are very important to become self-sufficient. Those are missing nowadays, you know. And you need those one to be able to call yourself a self-sufficient man. You have to know that. And if you don't know that, you have, that's why I keep on saying this back then and in the past episode of this podcast, that you have to know the art of learning. I heard this from a podcast of a Navy SEAL, Andy. It was in their training that they learned how to learn something, how to learn a certain skill that they can use it, that they can do it, normally they can do it averagely in after learning it in just 24 hours, something like that. So um, that's also my passion. I try to like find hack. Hack is not the word. Hack, that's the so-called hack or the different process of learning, and then try to apply them like the this of Tim Ferriss, the 21 hours of learning, the 100 hours of learning. I am looking at those ones, trying to fit or to try to get all of those to use them for my personal benefit. Learning things so fast, okay? A very important skill for you to be able to become self sufficient. Learn to forgive. Holding grudges only hurts you in the long run. Yeah, that's right. Um, the person you're holding grudge against doesn't know that, and it does not affect his life. And the person who's only hurting is you, the one holding the grudge. So just let it go. Learn to forgive. Learn to let it go. One of the best rule I've read so far. Learn to forgive. Rule number 9. Number 10, be humble. Okay. Always. Always. Don't brag or boast about your accomplishment. I mean, you can talk about them, but not to brag it, just to, show. Okay. Of the ask, but you should always be humble. Number 11, be patient. Patient. Good thing comes to those who wait. Another skill that is starting to become extinct nowadays. Young people, young men, were so so used to having things instantly. You know, when we send letters back in the day, we have to wait for, no, no, during the time of our father, of my father, they have to wait for 2, 3, 5 days before there's the reply for their message. In our case back then, if we text someone, we have to wait for them for like 2, 3 minutes, something like that. I mean, we know how to wait. Though we know that waiting is the hardest, thing to do ever, but we are patient. But nowadays, because of this fast internet, fast communication, everything is instant. They cannot wait. Patience. Being patient is a skill. Is becoming extinct nowadays. But it is for you to be called a real man. You have to have this on you. Next, don't be a bully. Don't be a bully. I don't need to explain it to you, but let's just say don't be a bully. Be a helper, be a protector. You know, be a good listener. We already kind of discussed that one a while ago. Be a good communicator. This two goes hand in hand. Okay. You cannot become a good communicator if you are not a good listener. And you cannot be a good listener if you're not a good communicator also. Be confident in everything you do. Be confident. Next, act with integrity. Do the right thing even when no one is watching. That is self-discipline. I always tell all my students before, right? Doing things the right way, even if no one is watching, is an being acting with integrity. Be disciplined, have self-control, and focus on your goals. Yeah, you have to have your purpose and then focus on your goal. Show gratitude. Yep, you gotta be thankful. Okay, show gratitude to all the people that came to your life. Be open-minded. There's always something new that you can learn from everyone. You should be open-minded. There are different perspective on one thing, and you have to open your mind so you can see that. That's one of the unspoken rule of becoming a man. One of the standard. Be a lifelong learner. Yeah, be a lifelong learner. And that's why it's very important for those who are listening right now that are so young that you have to learn how to learn. Okay. The ones or the process or the techniques that I discussed, like about the this of Tim Ferriss or the 21 hours of learning by Josh Kaufman and the 100 hours. Those are all like things that was discovered. Those are all like listed in organized by those authors. But it does not mean that it is a standard. You have your own way of learning, and you can find it out. You can discover that by learning. So while you're learning, you are also learning how you learn. And you have to take note of that and try to apply that on the different skills that you want to learn. Okay? Because the rule, one of the most important rule, unspoken rule of becoming a man of men is becoming a lifelong learner, right? You have to do that. Now, a while ago I said, now how about this standard? Or I mean, how will you know? Okay. Or what was the unspoken rule also for an Igorot man? Okay, so let's start with the unspoken rule. And take note, I don't have a list here. I'll just try to, you know, try to do it. Try to give the rules to you as we get. Try to think of it and try to give you the reason why I said and that is one of the unspoken rule of becoming an Igorot man. So one of it is that if you're an Igorot man, okay, 20 unspoken rule. Could it be 20? Yeah, let's just say unspoken rule of the Igorot man. If an Igorot man, you should know how to do dirty works. Right? Dirty works in by that dirty works I mean the hard works like working in the farm, doing carpentry, working in the construction, working as a miner. At least you know how to do those work. Manual labor. You should know how to do that. If you're an ignorant man. Unspoken rule, right? Okay. So no matter what your profession is, if you're an engineer, you're an attorney, I mean lawyer, you're a teacher, you're whatever it is. Okay. If you're a professional working in a white collar company, a white collar job, still you should know how to do manual labor. That's one, I think it's high up there of the unspoken rule of becoming an Igorot man. Okay. How about the other one? You should chew betel nut. No, I'm just kidding. The most, or a lot of men are chewing that thing. I don't. I don't. Anyway, another one is that you are, okay, if you're an ignorant man, you are physically active. By that I mean, um, you will know that this is an ignorant if first one is he goes to the gym either for bodybuilding or he goes to the gym for combat sports, mostly combat sports, and yeah, also bodybuilding. Okay, so you have to be a sports lover, and you will know. Okay, ask your Igorot friend. Okay, if they've taken like a karate class, or they go to the gym to make their body so big, or they do boxing, or they play basketball. They are physically active, Igorot men. Another is unspoken rule. And why would I say this is our unspoken? Because, if you're a young man, it's like you you are not being told to do those things, but you view it as a man, I have to do this. It's already in your brain. That's why, yeah, it is unspoken. Okay. So what was the first one? You have to do manual labor no matter what your job is, even if you're rich. Yeah. Even if you're a rich Igorot, you gotta know how to do those things. And of course, physically active. Either you're a kickboxer, a Muay Thai practitioner, things like that, or Igorots or Igorot men are physically active. What else? Unspoken rule becoming an Igorot. Okay. You gotta know how to sing country music. And I mean, you gotta learn how to sing or can sing at least one country music. Okay, most probably, don't close your eyes. That one. No, but that I mean is that if you're a man, an eager man, spoken rule is that you can sing, you gotta sing. If you cannot sing, you know how to play the instrument. And here in the Igorot nation, most of the men can play instrument, musical instrument, piano, guitar, name it. Either it's one of those instruments, an Igorot will know how to play it. If they cannot play it, they can sing. All right, next. you know, mm, Igorot men don't do PDA, public display of affection. That's why other people from other provinces would say that, oh, they're not that sweet. They're not sweet. Igorot men are not sweet. They say things like that, and I heard that personally. And well, they can be sweet, but they are not into expressing, affection in public, even holding hands. It's like they're gonna, they cannot walk. They'll have, they'll be so embarrassed holding their girlfriend's hand. So, Igorot men don't do PDA, things like that. What else? Hmm. Uh, Igorot men would say they won't brag about the content of their wallet. Yeah, um, that's what they do. They don't brag about the content of wallet. But they're not, I mean, that's I think the way they show their humility. They won't say they have a lot of money. They cannot they won't brag. They have money. So I think that's so far that those are so far the things that I can remember. Is that is like this and spoken rule of becoming an Igorot man, you know. And what else? Okay, they are always helpful. Okay, you meet them along the way. Even if they don't know you, they will help you. Those are the unspoken rule of Igorot men. And of course, some of the unspoken rules were already discussed a while ago. But the ones that I included are like, you know, something that's unique only in this place here in the Igorot Nation. So anyway, that's for this podcast for this week. And thank you so much for listening. I'll be meeting you again next time. Bye bye.